So then becomes Elferrat. What's an Elferrat? Well, I brought here, this is the only thing I actually rescued from the papers that I had prepared, is from 2000, 2001, going back from my home club where I grew up as a young man. And some of those guys in here from the Elferrat, they were with me in the Prinzengarde. You know, you grow up, you have to go through the ranks. You don't just start as an officer, you have to start as the Schütze im letzten Glied. So I let that thing go around, but first, Elferrat is also the, they have a position in Germany. And if you look at this page up front, you can see, and if you don't understand it, but it is all in German, they have, of course, an honorary president, the president and the vice president, two of them. Then they have the Finanz-, Außenschrift, Requisitenminister, and so on. So in Germany, an Elferrat does have something to do. It's not like very often here, we're staying on the stage and saying Prost and hello, and unfortunately, we have too many of those and not enough to do the work. And I'm sure I see a lot of people going there, it's the same thing everywhere. You don't get enough people. Now we have down here, and I like to present to you Heino Möller. He's the newest Elferrat at the Phoenix Club. He just joined us tomorrow. We have lots of people who had never any experience of Carnival in Germany at all. When we grew up and we came over here, so yeah, they had heard of Carnival thing here. So we had a pretty difficult time after the war. They had the, I mean, when we came over, started, yeah, let's start an Elferrat and a princess, and a prince, and yeah, then what are we gonna do? Well, we do some Bündnerreden. So I combine this a little bit so that what I call the German-American Carnival's history here, how we go. Like when I visited Kitchener, there's 112, 114 years old, I believe, and they have a Carnival's group too. They have survived that long. Here, Cincinnati, how old are you guys now?
64.
64, so we are only 45 here from us, but I came to quite a few, and I'm really proud of what most of us here have accomplished in the United States, but it always comes back to the question, Elferrat, what's an Elferrat? Well, that's the court of jesters, they give them all kinds of names. And we need to realize that, as I said, the work that needs to be done. A group to be successful needs a good leader, but it also needs some help. This is where we're lacking a little bit, and especially then when you have rules like we did. Before we brought some people in, I have just a couple of my Elferrat walked in here. On Tuesday, nobody said they would be coming, so I hope nobody shows up again. So. Anyway, Elferrat is a very important position in Germany, and that's what we have to or should do over here too. As I say, it's not just coming in then, and when I see, like last night, it hurts me when I see the Elferrat coming in and going like this. What we call Scheibenwischer, or the windshield wipers, you know. So the thing that I grew up, and as I say, Germany is so diverse in Carnival customs, from Cologne, Aachen, Mainz, all over now, especially now since after the war and the unification. We had Berlin here, when you were here, we had the Berlin Prinzenpaar, the Munich Prinzenpaar. We even now have, from what I understand, Mexicans have become a full member. I heard that yesterday, so they're really grown and make it international. Let me ask the Vice President, do we have any plans on changing the name of GAMGA?
No. Absolutely.
We were talking about it last night, but the new name would be. Anyway, so Elferrat is. There are sometimes people on the Elferrat who really shouldn't be there, but we want to look good on the stage and have 11 people there. right? He's smiling there. He knows what you're talking about. Everybody wants to come, wants to look good, and you know what I noticed in our club is simply that we have rehearsal day before opening. Boy, there's nobody's missing when it comes to the pictures. But when it comes to the rest of the time, they always have a lot of excuses, and sometimes you scramble to putting 11 guys up there on the stage. So let me ask you a question. You all probably have those funny hats, right? Is this big thing up there? Does anybody know why that thing is that long? Well, it's mostly, I mean, the women is not exactly the same, but it is, guys, when you go to the bathroom and you're drunk, that your head doesn't fall into the wall.
Yeah, I'm glad you explained that.
So this is not a full Elferratsmütze, this is a Sitzungsmütze, but we call it, it's a little shorter because you don't get as drunk as on the big one. A little humor there, you're the Elferrat is, you should have the position that grew up is the, while the clubs got bigger and bigger, there was positions that needed to be filled. So, who is all Elferrat in here? And your positions? You what?
I didn't know what you said. Who is on?
Yeah, who's an Elferrat and what is your function? Let me ask you this.
Override.
You what?
I'm in the override.
The Elferrat, and what is your function in the Elferrat?
To do the bidding of the prince. And he has us to go on.
Okay.
I'm the ordnance minister.
Okay, we should have started this a few years ago. You had somebody to take care of the ordnance, yeah. I call it Ordensoffizier, but basically it's take care of the ordnance. This is basically so a thing in here. Then we have a finance guy because there is somewhere along the line somebody keeps a water bowl. I have somebody keeping, or we have, I should say, we, because I'm a new Elferrat's president, they're whole guys. We have somebody who makes the protocol, and the Elferrat does it himself, you know. So jobs that have to be done, which is with you people, you have problems of getting Elferrat. You have problems when you say you want to have a new uniform or hats or things like this. The contribution. Yeah. You know that in Germany to become Elferrat you have to be usually pretty good in the money in order to fulfill your function there. I remember when I started out with, we had a Requisitenminister. He took care of just the uniforms from the Elferrat and from the Prinzengarde. Each year, when we had our dress rehearsal, we all had to come, including the Elferrat, and everything was checked out again and so on. But there's usually people who are really the business community over there. That's what we need to think people that it is an honor really to be at Elferrat, to become this functioning governing body. As it's sometimes really difficult to find words in English that kind of mean the same. But Elferrat is the one that makes the rules. I don't know if you have any problems in the past with the women sometimes. Our Prinzengarde, we had a couple of Palastrevolutionen where they want to run and things in here. That's why also in Germany now you have quite a few female Elferrats.
Yeah.
You might have noticed that. In the old days there was no way where the women would have gotten in.
There's some of the functions that we're responsible, both individually and as a group, to make sure that they all happen and everybody has fun.
All right.
Which group is this from?
This is TED Edelweiss.
Edelweiss.
Okay.
Exactly which city are you guys in? Denver?
Yes.
Right in the.
Oh, okay, that one, yeah. There was another, you know the one that Edelweiss and Rio Grande?
It's Albuquerque.
Albuquerque,
It's
that's
over
what
there.
it's called, Mexico, that's where I was. There, That's good, I like this one here. You're one of the more traditional ones. By this I mean,
What is that?
okay, this is just a schedule. So it says here sketch Fasching opening, see, I call it Fasching. So whoever founded this, they're the one that were from the south, from the Munich area. That's why we have Fastnacht, Karneval, Fastnet, and all those different names. Lumpenball, wow. They have it on January the 9th. We have it after the season. It's another one what the Phoenix Club does is, in the past we were so full that at 8 o'clock we had to close the doors. It's not anymore now, but at 8 o'clock you couldn't get in anymore because we were already too full. Now we, and that's when they, at the end of the season, after Ash Wednesday, we had a Lumpenball, and there became a certain tradition of burying the prince. And there were quite some messy princess funeral, I tell you that. And when I then got involved, it's the first thing I tried to cut out. They brought a guy in the coffin, and then the rest of them put beer and all kinds of stuff in there. I mean, beer was the nice stuff. Some of them threw some garbage in there, and then at the end I brought them around there. So the animosity they had built up over the season for the prince then, and really got, and as an Elferrat who had been in Fasching in Germany, that was just something I could not tolerate. So today we just bring him and make a little funeral, everybody black, and speak a few words and say goodbye and so on. But I'm actually more interested in how the rabbit are going. But this year, I really love what you guys are doing.
Yes,
This is Carnival.
yes.
Carnival is not very often that's common. We make an Elferrat's president, the prince and the princess, and a couple more guys and a couple of kids, and this is a Karnevalsverein. Now, let's go on here. They have Kappenabend.
Oh, that's funny.
Right. Royal Ball, Weiberfasching, and a Sitzung, Maskenball, and Kinderfasching.
And at Weiberfasching, we're required to dress accordingly.
We had that too. Unfortunately, with us in Southern California, it didn't
Yes.
quite go often enough. We had Monday night, we tried this. It's just our program evolved into Saturday nights, and there was a lot of dancing. When I became Elferrat's president, I said, now we gotta have a Sitzung. And, oh, no, we cannot do this. People want to dance, the Americans want to dance. I said, yeah, but we want to keep up the traditions. So that give me a Sunday afternoon. So I started our Sitzung on Sunday afternoon, and it's still on Sunday afternoon. This is how it gets to, but Elferrat needs to work together, and the spirit, this is why I really love this, because I cannot say we have this many varieties. We have three. We have the opening, 3 balls. We have Kinder and Prunksitzung, and then the Lumpenball, which I wanted to say, our Lumpenball evolved that we were so popular that people didn't want to stop. That's when we put in the Lumpenball, saying, well, we got no more money and everybody comes in rags. We spend all the money on the Saturday after Fasching, which actually goes against the rules, by tradition. But one of us tried to get to, we felt like we have to make compromises here, what fits. So we have an official program, some dancing, then we make some skits and things like this, and have our traditional parade ball. Ours has evolved slightly different. But after I got to Germany a few years ago there too, I took the contract again with my group from our Prinzengarde that was in there now. They don't have many left. There's mostly dancing guards. Elferrat they're all officers now in my club. And then after you grow up over there and you are the younger ones, then they're going into the Elferrat. And very often the prince that you have recruited, which of course in Germany is quite a expensive thing. It seems to be turning into an expensive thing here too. The expectations to get all those freebies, those parties now on Saturday nights. We used to have just a few clubs who had one, and it was mostly internal. Then they started one when I was here, and then I had a speaker said, well, why don't we have one too? So we visited each other at the party. We visited each other in San Diego and in Anaheim. So the parties here have become, and I look at the evening, and all of a sudden I think it's empty, and you have a few numbers, and sweet here, sweet there. Everybody has more fun on the singing here, but I shouldn't talk so much about the thing. As for Elferrat, the expectations of an Elferrat in Germany are so different than here. Would you like to say something in the way of how yours runs and your problems that you have is the Elferrat here?
The way we have it set up is the Elferrat is the governing body of the Karnevalsgesellschaft. We make the rules. President of the Karnevalsgesellschaft can be any member that gets the vote. We are fortunate enough have Dan is our Karnevalsgesellschaftspräsident, but he's also Elferrat member. And when we started out, we had tough time by forming the Karnevalsgesellschaft, just getting enough members to be part of it. Eventually, we had enough just to fill the Elferrat. Then we started out with a problem because suddenly we had more members. And who are we? Well, you're a member. If you're good enough and work hard enough, you can become an Elferrat member. And when we have it set up, Elferrat member, any member from the Karnevalsgesellschaft can become an Elferrat member if he gets voted in by the Elferrat. And we have it by two-thirds majority vote. So we try to protect ourselves from ourselves.
I have a question. How many Elferrat members do you have in your?
We have 11 Elferrat.
So
we had at one time we had what did we call it? Alternate. But it never. The Elferrat, the 11 votes. The alternates could participate, but at that point, if all the Elferrats were there, they did not have a vote. We did not have more votes than 11. And so far, we are doing fine. The understanding, naturally, a lot of people like to be in the Elferrat, but everyone has a good reason not to do anything.
That's exactly what I said earlier, right?
is your position in the Elferrat, is it a permanent position, or do you have to be reelected?
No, you are, as long as you stay in, unless you do something that is derogatory to the Elferrat.
Sure.
But as long as you do what you have to do, you stay in till you resign or you retire. A retired Elferrat member becomes a senator.
I think if anybody saw that little booklet here, my little write-up, that's exactly what I'm saying. That maybe we should, in our group, start a senate for the older ones, get them out. Some of them sometimes have a hard time getting up on the stage, but it won't hold them back from drinking.
First things first.
Yeah, right. We have ours pretty much set like that. I'm from Central Florida. And we have the select 11, and then we have the 4 alternates. But each year, the Karnevalsgesellschaft is authorized to vote if they feel that one of the Elferrat is no longer, should be on the Elferrat. And if he is voted, if we get enough votes, then the Elferrat will set him aside and bring in one of the alternates, and then ask for a new alternate. That's the way we do it there.
Has that ever happened?
Yes. Yes, we've had two of them that we've asked to step down, totally to step down.
For what reason?
We've got one this year that more than likely will be forced to step down. Because she has a hard time walking.
I'm curious how has that gone over with the club, because I was reading that and I was thinking, that is something San Diego, just like the other clubs, we have our problems with you've got about half the Elferrat that's quite active and is instrumental in running Carnival and many parts of it. But there's also a number of people that have just been there for years and years, and to try to take some of those people that say have been in the club way longer than myself and ask them to step down. I think words are extremely divisive. And I'm just curious what your experience was with that sort of thing.
We had some internal problems, naturally. And
Who doesn't in a German club? Nach Parole, jedem Deutschen sein Verein.
and the first one that we asked stepped down, or told him that he had to step out of the Elferrat completely, was very bitter about it. And the reason that we asked him to step down was mainly he had very bad drinking.
Oh yeah,
Among
that's.
other things. And he thought that anything, he was the boss. Nobody else was, he couldn't change nothing. And we had to get that out of there because we're trying to bring in the young people, and that's absolutely impossible when you have the strictness that, like you were talking about, if you don't speak German, you're not in. Well, I would say 95% of ours don't even know how to speak German, let alone sing the songs.
That's one of the problems we immigrants have.
So, I mean, you know, we had the bitterness there, but we've gotten over that.
I know, as an Elferrat, when I was Elferrat's president in the old club, I suspended once a Hofdame for 6 months because she had the same problem. You know? And when she starts making handstands, showing.
Oh my God. Okay.
So, I mean, we all have probably similar problems as you see in here. But the Elferrat with us, as you see in my picture, we have about 16 or so on, which is too often. Here is one of my Kellermeister and Mundschenk. And then one of them is the guy who does the DJing, the music. And then we have the Hofmarschall. Hofmarschall is on one of our, and in the pictures very often he's as a Hofmarschall. So by the end it comes out, we had up as many as 17 or 18 Elferrat. But I always try to only have 11 on the stage, which is sometimes even then difficult, even though they get all the free booze. They try to make it attractive. So the Elferrat in the United States versus the Elferrat in Germany, this German Karneval, is quite a bit different. So while over there everyone does have a real function, there is a couple of days, 2, 3, depends on what, sometimes they are responsible for the program. Then you have singing. Now this has evolved. Ours, the Elferrat's president, is also the MC. We had Elferrat's president that couldn't speak, so we had to have an MC. Then, you know, plus within the Phoenix Club, I don't know how some of them, as I mentioned earlier, Phoenix Club, we have 15, 16 different groups. Carnival was one. They couldn't call him president. There was the group leader. It's very often you find sometimes in the older magazines a group leader. And then when we had contact with Germany, what's the group leader? Yeah, why don't you call him president? Well, we have a president. There was once a group went to Germany, and the guy who interviewed him in the paper, they said he's the Elferrat's president. But it came out what they printed was the president of the Phoenix Club, which of course that real president of the Phoenix Club flew off the handle, which is understandable. But if you have ever had a contact with the press, you got to be very careful and emphasize what you want to have printed in this case. So I was involved, and we emphasized Elferrat's president and group leader. We still write in there, so there is no animosity between the board of directors, which we have at the moment, what, two in there?
Yeah.
4? Oh yeah, 2 women there, yeah. The way I say this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it offensive, but we have, okay, let's not get too much into this. Our structure is simply that the club is the club and the Karnevals group, and over the years, when you read my little thing here, it came from Karnevals group to Karnevals Gesellschaft, Phoenix Club Karnevalsgesellschaft, and then Anaheim Karnevalsgesellschaft, because we came over here, oh Phoenix, yeah, you're from Arizona. No, we're from Anaheim. And why are you Phoenix? So we had a little problem there identifying, and I tried over the years now to make it show an AKG, you know, Anaheim Karnevalsgesellschaft. So to be a little bit different, but I'm still, our emblem is still from the Phoenix Club, but we made it like this over here. So it's the problems we encounter here in the United States is the first of all identification. When you visit, and we have visited a lot in the last few years, there were quite a few Prinzenpairs were over there, and a few Elferrat and some Garde. It's always though, okay, Carnival, Phoenix Club. There is no Phoenix Carnival, and then it gets this Arizona. So for identification purposes, we tried this, and so far it works. Now, I don't know what Holger has in mind, how he's going to direct in the future. But I was trying to make a separation between the Phoenix Club, what I say Anaheim Karnevalsgesellschaft, and the Phoenix Club. So our Elferrat mostly are somebody involved, and I hope the newer generation, as you can see over there, our new president and last year's prince, and my son here, we tried to get those younger ones in. And the newest one, he's a little up in age, closer to me than to my son, but I know he's a very nice guy, so we just wanted him in there too this week. So Elferrat's positions, what you need to do as a leader is make him work, and it's not easy. Very often, and I'm sure Holger finds this right now too, he's also vice-president of the GAMGA, Elferrat's president of the Anaheim Karnevalsgesellschaft. He has his hands full. So then he needs people who help him out then. And I have tried over the years, if you look at my magazines the last 7 years, I gave him positions. And I even had a web minister, I had a communications minister and so on, and trying to do a little bit, but get the guys to help is the most difficult. And you know you have your troops that you can always depend on. It's always the same when it comes then to working. And I don't know, how are you going to get your income, if you don't mind me asking?
We used to have it where Germania itself is the main club. Germania Society of Cincinnati, Ohio. The Karnevalsgesellschaft is a section.
Just like us.
And so we have right now 3 major sections. There's the Karneval, the Schützenverein, and the Schublatt. We started out with, we keep 10% from the door. The rest goes to the main club. Now what we do, we split everything. We keep the raffle and the kitchen. if we need this, actually the expenditure and the income that we make keeps us afloat. We make little money, but if we have major expenditures, like for the Garde girls, new customs and so on, those are major expenditure, there the main club will support us.
Mostly similar with most of you guys?
No, San Diego, the income for Carnival comes exclusively from dues. We get nothing from the door from our events. That goes to the mother club in its entirety. Where we make the real income that we have besides dues is in an Oktoberfest. Generally, each of the organizations within the German American societies will support a number of the activities at Oktoberfest. In addition, we have a booth set up. It's just Carnival, and that's where we get most of our money for the year. It's paying for orders, if we're buying pieces of uniforms for the Prinzengarde, and that in recent years is good for about $10,000 a year. The Oktoberfest is for both us and in fact the club. That's
Well, we also have some other fundraisers.
that's
The art sale. Also, we have, there is the option that if, you know, it's like we needed new uniforms or something and it looked like it was gonna cost more, we can go before the board and make a request.
Yeah, Carol?
We're set up entirely, excuse me, differently. We don't have a mother club.
Ah.
We're at lock, stock, and barrel.
Lock, stock,
So
and
either
barrel.
we swim or we drown, and it's
Guys,
us.
you wrote me last week that you and your wife were having to run it because you had rented it out and somebody needs to go there to run to do this, the cleanup and the whole
Well,
thing, yeah?
yeah, and that's what the clubhouse where we're at. We're privileged to have a gentleman who's very philanthropic, and he's allowed us to use his facility for meetings and all kinds of stuff like that, and of course we pay him back. But we're set up where we've got our board of directors, and then originally we were told, well, the Elferrat, fine. Now, they march in at the beginning of the Prinzenkarneval, and then they march out. And when we come then to Maskenball, they do the same thing. Well, even though I was born in the cold, the winter, no, I was born in the summer, wasn't I? In Minnesota, something was missing there. There's something wrong with that picture. They have the Elferrat, which I had heard was the advisors of the club, and their task was merely to be able to walk left, right, in before the Karneval, and then out, and in before the costume ball, possibly, and then out, and maybe not that. So we've changed things, and we've added, and Jack over here was president of the Elferrat, and we've charged them with searching for a prince. Get us prince candidates. And then the board decides whether they're going to have it or not. The Elferrat is now in charge of doing the Prinzenkarneval program and so on. Now, as far as the selling of the tickets and that, that's basically been done by other people yet. But there was so many gaps in there.
Yeah, but it looks like you, in your club, the Elferrat is more involved than in some other ones.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, you know, in the beginning, yeah, to me, now Jack, you could disagree.
No.
We were do-nothings. And it was like, what in the heck is this?
Yeah.
You know, and then we go to Germany and we talk about, you know, the Senat and the Elferrat, and it was like, duh, you know, there's something wrong in Denmark. Well, it wasn't in Denmark, it was in Minnesota. But I know other clubs, and they're members of our GAMGA. Their biggest task at the Elferrat is march in, march out. They exist in 2010. And it's like, that's why I asked the expert up here, and you experts, to share with us, because we don't know enough.
Wow. I'll thank you for calling me an expert. I don't feel like I'm the expert. I have some
Are you 100
experience
miles
in
from
it.
home?
Huh?
Are you 100 miles from home?
Yes, I am.
Then you're an expert.
We had a Phoenix Club, we had a similar situation in the old days. We had a budget, we got $2,000–3,000 for uniforms and ordnance and this kind of stuff, and then when the Phoenix Club was founded and it really grew in Southern California, they made money by the, you know, I mean, there's some stories that the president had money under the mattress and all kinds of things there. So much, but then it started settling down and wasn't coming in as much anymore. We built a clubhouse, expenses came, you had employees. So all of a sudden that support was trickling down, they were cutting us. And if we go in our history, we had sometimes a Nackenblatt that consisted of one double sheet, and just the cheapest paper and black and white, because there was no money. So a few years ago, actually now it's what, 10 years? 15 years? Oh, we are already in a new club for a while. That's when we started in the summer. We had some pool parties, and somebody said, the guy from Cologne, let's make some rheinische Pfannkuchen. Right? While we're having the party mixer. Everybody likes to eat them, but nobody likes to make them. So we started putting this. I put the first stove together, you know, with some barbecue flames and a plate, and it was quite an experience, because this thing then popped open, the oil sprit, and you couldn't get it going. Now we have a stove that's that thick, and we have some pancake experts here. And this is another thing. Our Elferrat's president group leader does most of that thing in here. He's, you know, this is where there should be more support from the Elferrat. That's why we need to get positions in there. That's why I wanted to see how the rest of us. I know it's not talking about much Elferrat, but I think we as Germans here, German clubs in the United States, we have a little bit of a problem. First of all, it's Nachwuchs. We are lucky. I got my son in here, I got my daughter in here, I got 3 granddaughters in here. The president has 3 kids in there, he has a daughter in there. So, in the old days with the club, the parents went and left the kids at home. So there is in our club, a generation gap. There's one generation missing. We now, my wife, American, was the youth dance group leader for 12 years. His mother, even though she was not German, but she put this together, and us walking up, this is why our kids coming now. We started first just the Prinzenpaar, to introduce them a little bit, then a couple more kids went along, and all of a sudden the whole youth dance group comes along. It was my daughter. So, I was a little more interested to how we all solve our problems. We used to get, so now we turned into making pancakes. German potato pancakes, and it sells pretty well. And we have evolved to have a nice stove now. It has become a routine how we do this. We have a kitchen crew, things like this is our income. We don't get anything on the gate. The club put this on and so on. We used to get all the drinks free, for instance, what we call a warm-up party before we started marching in. At that time, now we have to take care of ourselves. We buy the booze and this kind of stuff from the club. They give us the price plus 50%. We cannot bring anything from the outside because you have to watch the liquor laws here too. So we are doing actually fairly well, and I'm glad to belong to this group. We have our things going. The problem is that between when they turn 16, 18, to old enough to come to the Elferrat or the thing. This is one of the problems. It's when you lose them.
Well, I got a question actually, not just for you, but for all the, I guess, older, more senior Elferrat members. How do we as an Elferrat body who is supposed to preserve tradition of carnival and, you know, preserve the bylaws and make the rules so that, you know, it's entertaining because we put the program together, right? But how do we do that in a way for now 2nd, 3rd generation Germans, and not just them, but a whole generation that knows nothing about Carnival. How do you make it interesting? Because I'll tell you, if you go in there tonight, the average age of that room is floating somewhere probably around 60, and it's not getting any younger. The younger people are the dance groups, and I mean, it's not to say anything bad, but they're dance groups. They come in, they dance, and they leave. They go to a party, they go to a club in Vegas. They don't stay for the show because to them, the traditionalist part of it's really not that entertaining. You know, and some of us find it interesting, you know, as younger people, but I think as Elferrat, it's our job to find a mix of where we keep tradition, but we also start molding and modifying Carnival to fit in a more American theme so that it becomes interesting to another generation and actually a whole other group of people. Otherwise, we die out.
Well, we found when we have our events that the bulk of the people that come to our events are not members of our club. Minnesota. So we have to entertain them. So we can do little tidbits of information, but we have to remember that they're paying the money we make comes from our events.
Right.
And they're paying for the tickets. So we have to be careful not to bore them. So we have to throw little bits and pieces throughout the evening, just to kind of educate them, and yet keep them coming back to our events because they're paying for us.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
How many people do you have per evening event?
A couple hundred.
Couple hundred?
Yeah.
And I know it's nothing really a lot, but can you tell us a little bit when you say bits and pieces and so on, how do you do your events different?
Our ad book, we have an ad book that we pass out our events that has terms and what is Carnival, and we pass that out to everyone that comes. Also during the evening, our MC will discuss the Princeton Orden and our club orden. Depending on getting a feel for the crowd, we'll do a Schunkel and explain it. It's things like that. And we're fortunate in some respects that a lot of the people keep coming back, so we can do a little bit more. But we've also found that if we make it too long, we lose them.
What do you mean with too long?
Our ceremonies, our stage stuff. We've had the opening, we've shortened it down because as we were observing, the only people that were paying attention were the people in the front row, the buzz in the back, you could just hear it pick up.
So how long on average is one program on?
Our awakening is about 5 minutes. We wake an hour. That's about a 5-minute. Our defrocking, we call it, and our Princeton and our croning takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Our costume ball, which is really a costume ball, that's a very short ceremony. That's really awarding of prizes.
You don't have performances during those events?
We have performances. We have during the band break. We have it is primarily as a dance.
Tanzpaar.
And we have our Tanzpaar will do performances.
So you have 2 or 3?
2 or 3, yeah.
So the main reason people are coming, for the most part, is for the dance.
The dinner and the dance, yes.
Always has been in the United States.
Dinner is basically included?
Yes.
Yeah. We found in Minnesota that seems to work the best, to put a dinner with it. And when we've got to rent places with the dinner, of course, then the cost of the hall, we can, negotiate better. And what Jack's saying, it's always that fine line. But we make our money from the ad booklet, we make it from the people who come to our events. And we've got up to 87 members now. But you know what? At 87 members, and only from the 87 members, we financially can't handle it. So we encourage the public to come in, get more members, but just come in if you don't want to be a member, because it puts also cash in our pocket.
So may I ask how much a member is entry tickets, including dinner?
30 to 35.
Including dinner?
Including dinner.
35?
Yeah, but you gotta realize too that, I wanna make this clear, the situation with the furnished club is slightly different. We have a big clubhouse, we have a restaurant, and we have the Bierstube. In the smaller clubs, it is the members who cook the meals. That's why we can make it 35.
No, ours are catered.
Ours are catered.
Okay, then.
Ours are catered.
Okay, if you can,
And we don't get the bar.
I mean,
The clubhouse owner gets the bar.
Or whoever gets it, you
The
know.
event owner. And sometimes the meal price is up to $30, so you're making, maybe you're covering the band, because you have to pay for the band.
And tell me, I don't know how much you pay, but you pay quite a bit of that.
And the
Anywhere from 600 to 1200.
And the
for one
biggest
evening.
thing, and the biggest thing missing in Minnesota is Carnival's music. And no one knows Carnival's music. So it's basically this American, German polkas and all that type of stuff. There's no Carnival's music. And if you put too much Carnival in it, people don't get it because they don't know anything about it, because they've never been there, never seen it.
That's the right balance between entertaining and maintaining your German traditions and this kind of stuff. We all have, that's why I was trying to get.
Okay, but so we're a carnival organization, right? And
Yes.
we've got a lot of older members, so we have to cater them. But you say that we're supposed to when we say we're supposed to uphold German traditions, if you go to a German carnival, a lot of it is pomp and circumstance, but the music and all that, the way they dance, some of the parties they throw, have all been catered now to bring in the younger crowds. I mean, it brings in a middle of the road crowd. So you've got your really young and your really old, but most of it sits between like the 30 and the 60, right? And it's catered to that. So how do you, in America now, because all the people that come to a lot of our carnival events, or at least at my club I find, are people who remember how it was in Germany. So how do you make that how do you make the transition? I mean, really, how do we, because remember, a lot of the Elferrat boards too sit with older generation that came from Germany that are still trying to uphold the traditions that they remember while they were there. So how do we start to make the transition from then to now, so that carnival still remains carnival? It doesn't remain, carnival in the 60s or the 50s or the.
That's exactly the problem. I became an Elferrat in 1982 down here in Anaheim, and we've been struggling. I hear exactly what some of you see. We went through all of this. And as I just mentioned earlier, when I said we want Carnival, we want to make a sitzung. Oh, no, the people want to dance. That's when I said, give me a Sunday afternoon. And as I said before, it's still on a Sunday afternoon, because you can't get enough people in a Saturday night to justify it. Now we even have one of our Elferrat, our DJ here. We make this couple events even without a band to save money and to be able to still be entertaining. No, so it sounds like we all have very similar problems. It doesn't give me an answer for what he's looking for. We had our first girls that we had at the Phoenix Club, our Prinzengarde. There was a Palastrevolution, so to say, not against the lady. We call them Kampfadergeschwader. The ones who speak German probably understand varicose vein bomber squad. So there was a revolution. We tried to get the new ones in because we had a youth dance group that wanted to get in, but the old ones didn't want to get out, right? So there was quite some fights there too, and to make it entertaining then, Saturday. So we had clubs coming, San Diego, sometimes 2 and 3, then goes up, and then gets the orden. So we brought it down to 5 orden. The president, the Prinzenpaar, and maybe MC, whatever. Only 5 people from the guest club on the stage, because we have a fairly decent stage, but there's just so much room. The Elferrat on the back, the band. We have had times when we put the band on the side to have more room. But then when they played, the stage was empty. I mean, we had some scenes and stuff like this, but the stage basically was empty after that. So it looks better with the band up there. But over the years, we have really tried to make this income that we need, maintain our traditions, and we tried even 1 or twice with a carnival just for young people, with rock band type thing in here to make. It wasn't really carnival, it was just a carnival dance with modern music. It didn't work. There were not enough people. You have to look at it from a marketing point of view, that in order to have an event, the old ones don't even come. He was always getting too loud, I can't come anywhere. It's the fact. Most people didn't dare. Last night I was sitting up next to the speaker there too. I had to leave. I couldn't take it anymore. So
The question you raised when you're talking about, I mean, I can say in San Diego, this problem of transition of keeping younger people interested in coming to our events, but not having the older members threaten to quit the club because the music will play in between is just enough to have you pull your hair out.
Right, it is.
Well, another thing wouldn't go happen.
Okay, can people, everybody want to raise? So can we go by the raise your hand? I'm trying to keep track of it. You've been trying for a while to speak.
Well, the other thing is and stuff, I mean, I can see what you're going through there, and it gets frustrating, but, you know, I'll tell you, these German clubs and stuff, I mean, we gotta be willing to change. And we gotta be willing to listen to new people with new ideas, and some of the older people that, you know, are fighting some of this stuff, hey, what good is a carnival if you got nobody to attend it? They're gonna start fighting this and go off and they quit and get rid of it.
Olga?
I think something very important was that we basically have to understand that Carnival, we have to entertain people. Yeah? Now, what is entertainment? Some people come to Carnival because they want to dance and maybe have some fun with it. Other people come to Carnival because they can show off. Other people come to Carnival and just want to see the performances, and that's important to them. And that is varying with age groups and gender and so on. I think it would be good maybe next year if we have another discussion like this, and just share some ideas how do different clubs entertain their people, what works, what doesn't work, how good the success stories, how you got suddenly a young crowd, and how did you manage to do that? How did you avoid pissing off all the older people and still have the younger people stay till 12 o'clock? Things like that. I think sharing those ideas, not only that there is interest, but I think there's also a need for that.
I really hadn't planned of going this direction, but one of the questions I had was very important. We need to come to a conclusion. He was first, and then it's you. Go ahead.
What we found, and I think the Phoenix Club has the same situation, is the band will play more lively stuff later on, because by then the older people have left. They tend to leave pretty early now. And that seems to keep the younger people, at least, you know, they get a little bit of, the bands seem to be able to play some rock and roll stuff, and that helps.
Here we do a lot of the breaks too, the band break. There's 15 minutes there. This is where most of us do the other entertainment.
The music style changes.
Sorry, you had a...
The difficult part for entertainment is the band itself.
Oh yeah.
If you have a good band that plays all the things you want, but there comes a point, even that good band is not good anymore because people like to hear something else. So we have, fortunately in our area, we have very good bands that play German music, some play even Karnevals music, and they have a good variety to entertain the people. The usual entertainment is especially on the opening ball, that we have the dance groups. If we have guest groups, we had them one year from Canada, and believe me, they're Canadian. They really have good dance groups. We have a dance group too, but our problem is they're getting good, they go to school, so we have to start from scratch. You know, and getting the people interested. For example, Germania Society is about 650 people. Karnevalsgesellschaft, we are 45 people. We go to meetings. Dan speaks at when Carnival comes up, and we invite new members to come. The problem is, if you come to a small club, most likely work is involved.
Right?
And
Even in a big club.
then this has to, well, I say a small club, a smaller section. I see that also with the other section, with the Schützenverein, I have to be the president on that too. And getting people to participate. It's difficult to establish a discipline. Everybody wants to be a member, but at their own terms. And the problem is, if you want to be a good Karnevalsgesellschaft or whatever other club, there has to be a certain discipline, and that is the most difficult part for the president to do, because we are, during the meeting, we are just in the background, unless something comes up where the Elferrat has to decide. He runs the Karnevalsgesellschaft. We just make the rules, the Elferrat. But his problem is getting people to participate. Volunteering is always, you haven't done it for long, you...
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Gentlemen?
One of the things that we've done is we've invited Germans, the high school German classes twice a year out to the club.
Right,
And
and the
there's
colleges
success
around,
with that.
and here German classes, we do this too. We even have gone so far, there was one year where we couldn't hardly get anybody for the Prinzengarde. We invited the Villa Park High School dance team to do a little singing there. That's how close it had gotten with us, having a dance garden there. You know, so we tried to bring the Americans in, and we could go on, people with more of that stuff.
We also have, you know, the folk dance group, the travel group, and besides the EdCog, and when the high school kids come in, they get up and dance, and we also make sure that they get up and dance, because we go ask them and get them up, and they really enjoy it, and their folks enjoy it, and that's important, because you got to get their parents interested too to come back.
That's not a problem. So we need to, one more.
I'm just saying to Holger's point about entertainment, what we have in our group is the Prinzengarde, and starting with the Maskenball, we have a Männer ballet. And people really enjoy that when we dress and drag, and the three of us are here. We used to have about 15 or 16 guys doing it, now we're about 6 or 7. But the girls dance normally twice. They'll have a garden dance, and then they'll have a show dance. So if at the Maskenball then, we have 3 entertainments: garden dance, show dance, and Männer ballet.
Yeah.
And to work in for the breaks of the band.
The problem with this, what it is, we have 2 sets of alte Kameraden uniforms. The old one was tailored, the second one was bought, with the helmets and all kinds of things. I've been on the stage in diapers. I've been on stage in just the singing here with the armbands, doing this thing. The problem is what you do after 45 years. You know, you want this, let's bring the other Kameraden again. We have some problems. This is entertainment. It's very popular also in Germany. But people, we need to, I get the sign back there, we have reached an hour. I think what Holger says, doing this and exchanging ideas, how we can survive, how we so. I apologize not talking too much about Elferrat, because there's really not all that much, okay? It was more the position of it. Do go on the site, Wikipedia, or look Elferrat, or go to Germany.de, look over there what it says, Elferrat, the traditions, what is an Elferrat, and so on and so forth. You can look this up. I was interested here how we do it, what is the Elferrat in the United States here, what is expected, what can we do. It looks like we all have the same problem. We all have a lot of guys coming up there, so in uniform. When it's picture day, everybody's there. When we may have a performance, everybody has there. And we have our servers that come up there, and another pros while they're drinking. We go through several cups and so on. But this is not the function of the Elferrat. We should all participate to make this in the Karnevals groupies. Years ago, we had a prince that became then the group leader, and I had a couple of people coming. Well, he's a party man. We just do party, there's no carnival. Manfred, if you don't come back, we're gonna leave. I had retired 12, 40 years ago or so on. I didn't, you know, I said we get the newer ones. Now I have a good man here. Holger had some experience in Germany, from what I understand, and I hope we all need to work together. But these workshops in the future should be maybe also one of those problems that we encounter and how we can overcome. So we all have enough experience.
My question is, what is GAMGA doing to promote communication between the clubs?
Oh, that's a very sour point. Well, since I'm probably the one in charge of communication from GAMGA, I'm sending almost, just before GAMGA events, I'm sending out every week emails. And the email addresses are all open to anyone that receives them. The feedback is very marginal. So I want you to understand that GAMGA, yes, it is an organization of all the clubs in America, but it's basically 5 volunteers. What GAMGA should be is a communication platform for the club. But you basically should give us some ideas or requests what and how you want to do things. And then we will help with
It's
that.
still, even GAMGA is a volunteer organization. All we are volunteers. And I usually joke when I was traveling on business and so on, and then, my job gets in the way of my Elferrat's job and so on. It's a joke, but it is for many. When that man has a high position and he has to do business to make a living, you know. And so the communication is all of us. We cannot just depend on one to give us what to do it. We need to work together. So this is the thing, it's a volunteer organization. If it was a paid position, I would expect a lot more. But on the other hand, as long as we are all volunteers, we all got to put our share in.
Let's say it this way, we have a web page. Yeah. We have, and if you type in GAMGA in Google, the first thing that comes up is our web page. So that is already something. Of course, you have to know what GAMGA is and what you're looking for. We have email communications, but beyond that, how to promote Carnival in America. Yeah? I think for that, we all should sit down and think about what do we mean with Carnival? How do we explain Carnival to American young people? What do we want them to expect from Carnival? Once we have that clarified between us, and I'm pretty sure at the moment that is not really clear, I think then we could do some steps and
But I have a problem with this.
Huh?
I have a problem with what you're saying with Carnival. I want to do Fastnacht. I want to do Fasching.
See,
there's another thing that I want to bring up there.
I want Brazilian Carnival, at least the women.
How many different types of German potato salad exist here in the United States? Do we have a problem? Okay, so
Where's the Ferris wheel?
Okay, one more, but you have to go.
I just wanted to say, what we did when we made our rules and regulations, we put in, we celebrate Carnival, Rheinischen Carnival.
Okay.
And we, when we set everything up, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we do the Fasching? Why don't we do the Altweiberfastnacht or the Germanische, Altgermanische Fastnacht and so on? No, our group will be Rheinischer Karneval, and we left it with this. Everybody agreed, we made the rules, and we lived by it. The best, as far as I can see, where a lot of clubs come together is a German Fest Milwaukee. It's out of the Carnival session, but you still have so many clubs coming together. perform. And this should be actually used to communicate, not only between the clubs, but also to the public.
Yeah, and for the Carnival section what we have there, this is why you know how the GAMGA got? We used to visit each other. And I said, well, we had a meeting once a year, and I said, okay, here's the big board. On this date, there we are here. No, we want to go to them, we want to go to them. So that's when we started out and say we make GAMGA, we get together, and we have somebody saying where this is, and out of this little meeting every year became GAMGA, to visit, to get the traditions and things like this. And with the Milwaukee German Fest, maybe we become the German GAMGA, whatever. I'm thinking here to help each other and to learn from each other. So it's...
We got one question. What is exactly the difference between Carnival and Fasching?
The area where it's celebrated. That's why he said the Rheinischer Karneval. At the Phoenix Club I had tried over the years, there was, depending on who was Elferrat's president, they pushed Alaf, I pushed Elau, but then when I was on there, I put Ahoy on the back, as they said last night, in my area they say Ahoy.
That's right.
They say other thing, Solingen Lot Young. There's so many, depends what area the Carnival is. That's why I'm saying, this Carnival, when he started this Carnival, I said, wait a minute, I want to, as a joke, ich will Fastnacht machen, Fasching. So they very clearly have a direction, Rheinischer Karneval. There's another couple of groups in here, is Rheinischer Karneval. I've tried in the Phoenix Club over the years, have the German Carnival, and this is why we say Aloha, Helaf, Aloha, Ahoy, whatever. So we made a combination, that's how we evolved to the thing to satisfy everybody. Well, if you don't say Alaf, I'm not going to come. So, you know, I mean, there are people like this, we all need to open up a little bit to get the common cause. I thank you for coming. I'm surprised how many came, expected 1 or 2.